Oh, oh, wait, it's on. Okay. Hi, everyone. So, anyway, so yesterday, there was quite a lot of chatter on the back of a post that was put out into Instagram universe about behind the scenes stuff of the BBG community. I ended up having a chat with I think about 150 of you on Instagram stories live yesterday about it, just because the idea behind it was I thought that was a really genuine, unedited way that, as someone who I guess you could say has a large following on Instagram, who does BBG, is technically part of the community, um, is friendly with Kayla, has done BBG for two years, that if we spoke about it all together, you could ask me questions, and rather than get a very well thought about response, you would know you were getting whatever question you wanted to answer, the straight answer from me, because I will always say it like it is. I will always try and be super diplomatic and tactful, and I'm not out to ruffle anyone's feathers or be mean, or because that's like the opposite of what I want to do. But I will always try and be honest, but in a nice way. But anyway, I didn't save the video, and we had such a funny, light-hearted, lovely chat about it, and I'm gutted it's gone. But I am going to try and just clarify a couple of my opinions on the topic and where I come from on the situation, because if you don't know what has been going on Instagram, and the post that came out yesterday or the day before about it by no means is the first. If you go on YouTube and search like the millions of BBG videos there are quite a few that have come out recently that are called Confessions of a BBG girl, Confessions of a former BBG girl, the truth about the BBG community, or is it the truth about Kayla Tsina's BBG? So there are other girls have done it. Other girls have had things to say as well, and I've watched them, and I'm always curious as to what other people are thinking when they decide to move on from BBG, which is inevitable. And so I just think that sometimes when something comes out from a really reputable, trustworthy place like this last post did, and it's made lots of people feel something, it's resonated with lots of people, it's reassured lots of people, it's also, not ruffled a few feathers, but maybe struck a little bit of a chord or home truths and things, and I think that's really good. But I also don't think it's a blanket approach to everything. I don't think it's the full story. I think it's a part of the story. I think there are lots of pitfalls on social media, but social media in general, and I don't think you can pinpoint it to the BBG community. I don't think that's fair. So I am going to try really hard and not edit this video at all. So I apologise if you're watching and there's loads of pauses and me tripping over my words, but I don't want this to be a super edited video. I'd rather think I do have just if you see me looking at anything, I do have a couple of scribbles just to try and remind myself, because otherwise I go off on a tangent, as probably most of you know. So my experience with the BBG community is that I started Kayla Tsina's BBG 2 years ago, just as an anonymous BBG account, and in that 2 years, my account has grown a lot. I now have, I think, 220,000 of you follow along, which I'm so grateful for and I love. And but I'm by no means special. There are loads and loads of amazing accounts, BBG accounts, and certainly when I started there were definitely what I think I used to call them the BBG veterans, just because they were the ones that sort of started it when it was popular, when it wasn't popular, sorry, and they were the girls you looked up to. I mean, I never really reached out to very many of them. I'm very shy, naturally, and anyone with a large following, even now, I really, really struggle to speak to them. I had to apologise to Kelsey when I met her, because I was like, I never speak to you, but it's just because I'm shy and I don't particularly like being fake or look like I'm just trying to be friends because you've got a big account. Like, I hate all that stuff. So I don't do very well with it. I'm much better at talking to new girls or new accounts or mums just starting off and that stuff. Much better at that. Anyway, see, I've gone off on a tangent already. Anyway, so when I started BBG, because of an account that was called Kim Fairley. She still does BBG to this day. She's still amazing. She's still my idol. And I think if I ever met her, I would literally pee myself with excitement. That's how I feel about her. Because I didn't follow her because she was a personal trainer. I didn't follow her because she was a BBG superstar or like a Kayla bestie or whatever. I followed her because she was a mum of 2. She was my age-ish. I am quite a bit older than Kim, but she was, you know, in the 30 plus. And she was a nurse, so she had a job, and she had a body that wasn't too dissimilar, a before body that wasn't too dissimilar to mine. I think mine was worse, but still, it was comparable. And her account just made me feel better and hopeful, and like this can be done. Like this Instagram training program, you know, guidebook that most people would probably laugh at actually does work. Look at her, she looks amazing. And as I followed Kayla's account, and the thing I really, really like to this day about Kayla's guide and the way it's happened for Kayla is that she was a personal trainer in Adelaide. She had her own way of training clients, you know, all this 7-minute circuits, plyometric thing. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I know nothing about personal training, and I'm sure what she actually came up with wasn't groundbreaking rocket science or anything, but I certainly hadn't ever come across that way of training before. And what I liked was that her success came on Instagram, came off the back of her just posting the transformation photos of her personal training clients at home. She was a personal trainer, mobile personal trainer, or in the beginning one in a training facility. And these were her actual day-to-day clients, and she used her methods with these people, real-life people, and trained them herself, and she posted their transformation pictures. Now, people cottoned on to these transformation pictures. She was one of the first fitness accounts that ever posted transformation pictures, and people saw them and were like, oh my gosh, these results are amazing. Messaged her, like, how can we achieve this at home? We want the workouts. And so they made the guide off the back of the training program that was already in place with real life people. And so that makes me feel like this was a guide that doesn't just work for one person. It's not just based on, you know, oh, this is the results I used on myself and now I've made a guide for all of you. This was a guide that worked on lots of different women, lots of different shapes and sizes, lots of different ages, and then she put it in a guide so that we could easily access the information and we could do it ourselves. And as you've all seen, it does produce great results if you apply it and use it consistently. And, you know, there's not a lot to fault with it from that perspective. You know, I find that much more appealing when I'm looking at a guide to do or a DVD to buy or a program to start. That's much more appealing to me than someone who has just transformed their own body and then gone on to release a guide based on that. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a couple of guides out there that I would love to try because I think they look super interesting. But if it was my preference, I like the ones that have been tested out on loads of different women. You can already see all the results, so that it's not just a case of, oh, it wasn't really appropriate for me, because I don't know anything about fitness really, you know, like from a qualified perspective. So I think, you know, she was recently, a couple of days ago, Kayla was called a random Insta trainer. And I do think that was unfair because I don't think you can call her an Instagram trainer. She didn't start off like that. She started off training as a personal trainer in Adelaide, training clients, and her success came off the back of that. So I think it's everyone else that are the random Instagram trainers, because all their businesses have started from having a social media platform. No, sorry, I'm going to scratch that. All the guides you will see around have come from them doing someone else's guide, having great success, having a small, like a little head start of a social media platform, learning about themselves that they love health and fitness, that they're passionate about it thanks to already doing someone else's guide or someone else's program, and then going on to do their own. So I don't think it's the right way around. I think Kayla wasn't the random Instagram trainer. She was a real trainer who found an Instagram fame and success from her own program. Was that clear? God, I'm already feeling the nerves. Another thing that's been addressed is that there's this feeling that if you leave BBG, that you will be alienated by the community, like we're in the mafia. Well, I mean, I do BBG, and I've done BBG for 2 years, and I don't think it was ever made to be done for 2 years or for a long period of time. I think it was brought out as a 12-week guide, you know, as a kickstart for people. And then I think they saw that people just continued to redo the guides, and they're like, well, what are we going to give them? Because they can't keep redoing the same thing. So then BBG 2 came out, and then the app came out to help people have a plan to follow more long term, because logically and realistically, you can't do BBG 1 for 2 years. Like, it's no good. It's not going to be good for you. Be realistic. I've continued to do BBG for 2 years because it's still working for me. It's still doing good things for my body. It's still super easy for me to do at home and to fit into my day. And the only thing I'm worried about doing about leaving BBG is messing with my great system that I've got set up. That's the only thing that occurs to me. I don't do it out of loyalty to Kayla. I don't do it because I think that everyone in the BBG community will unfollow me if I stop doing BBG. Nearly everyone I started doing BBG with 2 years ago has stopped doing it, bar a couple. And I don't unfollow any of you. And as far as I know, all my friends didn't unfollow each other because they stopped doing BBG. So I think if you experience that, it can only be a small minority. I mean, the girl that posted about having her following decline since she stopped doing BBG, and don't get me wrong, she was a huge ambassador for the BBG brand. Like, as in, you know, you did associate her account like with BBG. But I mean, I didn't unfollow her when she went and did her own things, so I can't imagine I'm in a minority of people. And I don't ever remember seeing her account plummet from like 110,000 or what it was when she stopped doing BBG to like 50,000 or something. I never saw that happen, so I can only imagine it was a small minority of people that didn't follow along after that. But to me, to say that her and the other girls who were originally doing BBG and then have gone solo, like struck out on their own, have then suffered a decline in following because of that, I believe, in my opinion, that is not quite true. I think the algorithm happened on Instagram, and if you don't know anything about social media and the algorithm, I will try and I'm no expert and I really know very little about it, but I probably know enough to take you through a 10-minute video of how things changed on Instagram when the algorithm came in. The algorithm changed in April, end of April, beginning of May last year, and it meant that the way we saw pictures come up in our feed changed. Normally you would see them by the time of day they were posted. So when you went on your feed, you would see the most recent post first, and then everything in chronological order after that. So it didn't matter if you were a popular person with 20,000 likes or a brand new BBG account with like no likes. If you posted, like, it would come up in chronological order. Then when the algorithm came in, it basically looks at what the algorithm works out what is most important to each person on Instagram. So for me, the algorithm will look at what it thinks I really, really want to see, and it will put all of those posts, regardless of what time they were posted, right at the top of my feed. And anything it thinks that won't be important to me moves further and further down. So for me, when the algorithm changed, I had 100,000 followers. And if I put a picture up, I used to reach, and that means reach means the people who would see my picture. So even though I had 100,000 followers, if I put a picture up, I would reach up to 500,000 people. Then when the algorithm changed, and I'm saying now I have 200,000 people, when I put a picture up, because I'm actually not a visually super popular account, if I put a picture up now, only maximum really 50,000 people see my picture. I have, very low engagement, which means number of likes on a picture compared to how many followers I have. And I don't think my posts show up at the beginning of very many people's feeds at all, because that's not my account. And this happened to everyone. So it wasn't just on certain accounts. This rolled out across Instagram. It affected Kayla's engagement. Kayla's, how many likes she would have on a picture. It affected big accounts. It affected small accounts. It made things very, very, very difficult for a lot of people to increase their followers. Because Instagram was just working differently. Now, it just so happens that a lot of the girls moved on from BBG at around the same time that the algorithm changed. And for me, I don't believe that, when they talk about their followers are going down. Like, for instance, can I just say I lost like 500 followers yesterday. Now, I'm not crying about it thinking that that's because, I made an Instagram live about this and 500 people unfollowed me. This is just the algorithm. They tweak it all the time. They get rid of robots all the time. They're getting rid of like spam accounts. And, it's just the way that it is with the algorithm. Sometimes you have a little flurry of followers. Sometimes it'll be 3 weeks and you won't have a single new follower. It's not in your control. So I firmly believe that what these accounts were really experiencing was the aftermath of the algorithm changing, because if you go and you really have a look at BBG accounts, there are a huge amount of BBG accounts that never gained a significant number of followers after the point of the algorithm change. So it's really nothing to do with BBG being a popularity contest. And it's really nothing to do with the fact that they were alienated after they left BBG in terms of their following. Whether they experienced any backlash in comments or people saying, being horrible to them, I don't know, and I hope that didn't happen. But like I said, none of them, I haven't spoken to any of them from a, have you experienced any hurtful things point of view. This is just talking about followings and followers going down and followers going up and blah, blah, blah. Since the algorithm changed, it changed the way that you can gain popularity on Instagram. And it also has made competition more fierce on Instagram for visibility, for popularity. It's harder to gain, to increase your numbers now. So therefore people fight much harder for them. And I don't particularly have a problem with it, because I don't think it is part of the BBG community solely. I think it's part of Instagram. I think there is competition in BBG. I think people do want to be recognised by Kayla and the transformations, but I don't think that's Kayla's fault or the BBG community's fault. I think no one before Kayla was posting transformation photos. No one knew how the girls would react to being reposted and having, a surge of new followers from being reposted. No one knew how that would go. What was, when you realise that it did create a bit of competition between the girls to get transformation photos reposted, what do you do then? Do you stop doing it? Do you stop giving out that validation and that thing because it's hurting some of the other girls' feelings and girls getting too competitive for it? What do you do? There is no right answer. And as far as the big deal about transformations, and I know this might sound rich coming from me because one, I have a following on social media, and two, I have been reposted by Kayla numerous times, but I didn't get my 200,000 followers from it. Like, that's not accurate. I got 2,000 new followers from each repost. So I think you could probably say, oh, and there was one big one. It happened at a time when I think everything was seen to be at its peak, and I think it was before the algorithm changed, and I think I had about, over the course of about 10 days, I had about 8,000 new followers, which is not like my account at all. So I would say the number of followers I have gained from being reposted by Kayla is a very large 16,000. But in terms of 222,000, 16,000 from Kayla reposting my picture doesn't seem that big a deal. I don't think it made my account grow at the rate that it grew. I hope that's not the reason. I hope, you know, people follow along for more than the fact that if they scroll right down Kayla's feed, they could possibly find a picture of me. I think as for this whole, there was a very broad statement made as well that said that loads of the current BBG stars, where this term comes from, I've no idea, and can I just say I certainly don't consider myself that at all. But that anyone who does have a significant following on BBG, a lot of them actually asked for shout outs and for information on how to get featured, because it's always been about Insta fame for some. Now, obviously that, I mean, I'm not going to say it hurt my feelings, but I felt like it was a very broad statement to make, because all I feel like that did was from an account, from my perspective, where I have never campaigned for a shout out or a feature or, you know, tried to repost at a certain time to get Kayla to notice me. That's never happened. That's not how my account has grown at all. And, you know, I don't do like mutual Women Crush Wednesdays so that we're reposting each other to try and grow our followings or anything like that. And I certainly never messaged Abby for information on how to do this or how to grow a following or anything. I feel like it's possibly put a seed of doubt into people's minds for accounts that are genuine accounts but are still BBG accounts technically, that it's put a seed of doubt and like maybe cast a little bit of shadow on what I do. And am I meant to feel bad now because I still do BBG and I have a following on social media? I mean, how am I meant to feel about that? I don't feel great about it now. I feel like it calls me into question for no reason. I think it could have been worded better, but it didn't. It just said, sort of just left it out there for all to make their own minds up about it. And I think the other thing you need to remember is that the BBG community grew so big that pretty much anyone can, at that time before the algorithm came in, anyone could grow a head start of a social media following. So, you know, BBG girls like to follow BBG girls. We want to be part of this community. We want to be like tagging each other or talking about things with like-minded women and all going through the same thing. It's the whole reason the Kayla movement and the 12-week challenge, so that we can all do it all at the same time. So of course, naturally, BBG girls want to follow each other. Now, when you have an enormous, I don't even know how big or how many BBG girls there are on Instagram, but when you have such an enormous amount of people all trying to do the same thing, it does mean that it is quite reasonable that the average BBG account is going to have a significant head start on any other kind of social media account. So whereas people really, really, really struggle to get their accounts off, you know, people who are going into it for a social media career will really struggle to build any kind of following, and it's a hard slog to get that first 1,000 followers. You can go onto a BBG community, or you could do, and you could use the right hashtags, you could introduce yourself around. You could tag the right people for what I'm doing now, or sweaty selfie, or morning abs tag, or whatever. And you can build a momentum on your account very quickly because we all want to follow each other. And it's promoted within the community to follow each other, to support each other, blah, 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 you know. It was just the way that it was. So it became very commonplace. It was like this wave of loads and loads and loads of accounts that say all suddenly had 5,000 to 10,000 followers. Now, 5,000 to 10,000 followers is a huge amount of followers for for most people, like a huge amount. That is, you know, like a micro influencer status social media account. And you know, when you find a pool of women all doing the same thing, and every single person nearly, apart from obviously the new people filtering in, or people who have got private accounts, everyone else is sort of building to this 5 to 10k following because we're all supporting each other. It's going to make a larger than average number of women believe in what they're saying, to think they have a message to spread, quite rightly, and to give them that shove that they never would have found somewhere else, to say, I really want to do this. I want to be on social media. I want to spread my message. I want to take great photos. I want, you know, because it is a photography app. Can we just remember, I know we all started off with our sweaty, gross pictures, and I do genuinely, that's one of the things I am satisfied about, but we can't take away from Instagram that it was and is a photography app. You know, all the accounts that went on there that became huge in the beginning were beautiful, beautiful photography apps. There have been fitness communities on other platforms for years and years and years prior to Instagram, because they can be closed groups. Facebook, it's not about followings. It's about you just, you know, socialize with your community and you support each other. They're all still there. If that's what you want, those are still there. Instagram is, by the nature of the beast, a photography, likes and following app. That is what it is. So you can't then blame the BBG community for competing for likes, competing for follows, big accounts, wanting to grow their accounts, wanting to take professional photographs. Don't get me wrong. If I told you that, if I was really, really truthful and told you the things that I've struggled with in the last 2 years, the things I've struggled with was the change in algorithm, because suddenly I had an account that filled me with confidence because it was growing such a quick rate and everyone seemed to, you know, think what I had to say was really worthwhile, and everyone's really responsive to it. To then the algorithm changed and everything went the opposite direction for a while. I'm not saying I lost a following. I was losing followers, and some days I lost more than I gained, and other days I would gain more than I lost, but every day I lose some. And it altered my engagement, it altered my reach, and I could see these things because I have analytics on my Instagram account. And yeah, for 2 weeks, totally made me like, what am I going to do? What am I doing wrong? Oh my gosh, you know, it was horrible. Like, but 2 weeks passed, and after like researching like a maniac what you can do to beat the algorithm, I gave up. I was like, it doesn't matter. It's not in my control. Let me just carry on doing what I'm doing. So the algorithm did get me down for a little while. Then all the change, the shift of everyone going from their mirror selfies to their professional photographs, which is a huge, huge Instagram trend for fitness influencers and accounts that want to be like fitness and like activewear, modeling, this kind of thing. You know, people want to look at inspirational sports photography, I guess. Me personally, I think the bodies on there look beautiful, and yes, they do sometimes give me a kick up the bum and make me think, oh yes, I'm going to work really hard on my workout today. But generally, I'm on Instagram because I need to see all the mums like me doing it, regardless of the fact we haven't got a motivational gym to go to. We're not doing beach yoga or some super cool boxing class, you know, like sweat pouring off us and the music blaring and the lights and the, you know. I need to see that somebody else has had to attend to their 2-year-old 25 million times while they were doing their workout. That's what I need when I go on Instagram. So generally, I follow the mums. I don't care really what program you're doing. If you message me and you're a mum and you want to chat about mum stuff, generally that's who I follow back, is the people like me, because that's what I need to take from you guys. And I hope it's reciprocated. I hope that's what you get from me. So I did feel very left out when everything changed to professional photographs. It did make me feel like, oh, I'm never going to be like that. And, you know, I do think I tried. I think if you look back at my account, tried to take better photographs. And then I was like, okay, I can keep this up for all of 10 minutes and I'm exhausted and I haven't got the inclination to do my hair up and makeup on. How on earth am I going to have the inclination to set my camera up and try and take professional looking photographs? It very rarely happens. I also struggled with giving advice. I really, really struggled with worrying every time I gave anyone advice that someone was going to say, you're wrong, you're not a personal trainer, you're not qualified in nutrition, you need to shut up because you're giving people unqualified advice. And I literally would have a freak out every time someone asked me for advice about whether or not I should give any or suggestions or anything. So I really, really struggled with that. Again, I got over it. Just, you know, if my friends want to ask me something, I will respond like a friend would respond. And that's all anyone can ask of me. There was a comment mentioned, or another statement in this post a couple of days ago that talked about empty content and about how versus qualified advice and workouts and things like that. If you follow me for qualified advice and workouts, then you should probably unfollow me, because yes, I have zero value to give you in that regard. But I firmly believe the beauty of Instagram, the beauty of the BBG community, is there is a place for everyone. As in, value can be found in the smallest account of a stay-at-home mum working out at home, and I will find huge value in your account. You are exactly the type of person I'm looking for and whose advice I want. As in, you know, I will probably be there going, have you potty trained your child yet? Because mine is 2.5 and she won't do it and it's killing me in amongst all the fitness chat. I need you guys in that sense. And there's huge value in that, just like there's huge value in the personal trainers on Instagram who are giving out the free, qualified workout advice, the nutritionists who are filling our pages with beautiful food, with the students who are showing you how to make it work while you're at uni, the women who are paving the way as social media superstars and showing you how you can build something amazing from absolutely nothing. There is room for everyone. We don't have to be a pool of people all getting the same value from exactly the same thing. I think it would be a very boring, intimidating place if we all had to measure the value of an Instagram account against one thing, against how authentic you are, how real you are, how many body positivity posts do you put up, how, you know, transparent are you. Yes, that's great, and I'm so glad those accounts exist, but I still like to look at the magazine facade, beautiful imagery. If I was truthful, if I was any kind of Instagrammer, I would choose to be a stationary Instagrammer, and I would have beautiful desktop like flat laid pictures with fresh flowers every day, and my feed would be color coordinated. Like in my dreams, that would be my ideal Instagram account, feed, whatever. It's not my real life, but that is my dream. And I need those stationary flat lay things as much as I need to see like Kelsey looking amazing with her, you know, with the arms that I desperately want to, you know, work on mine, make me want to work on mine, and doing her amazing opportunities that she gets. So I need a little bit of each of those things, as much as I need a little bit from the personal trainers to give me more ideas when, if there's an exercise I can't do, of something else I can do instead. And I need, even though I'm a terrible cook, I need meal inspiration. I need the girls who are talking about macros even though I don't do anything with macros, I need those girls because one, they reaffirm to me that it's not for me, but two, there's so much information that I can still apply to my own life just from seeing what they're going through. It's just, the value is everywhere. And just because maybe one person's account doesn't look as real as the next person's account doesn't mean it's less valuable. And just because someone has more followers than someone else doesn't mean their account is more valuable. You know, I have a large following, but I have a relatively unsuccessful account in terms of work opportunities. Like, don't get me wrong, I get to do some amazing things, and I'm so proud that, you know, I got to take over Fabletics Instagram stories and stuff as a mum, which made my day, and I got to, you know, do my first ever photo shoot. But is Adidas knocking on my door to be one of those Adidas ambassadors that loads of the BBG girls once got approached to be? No. Am I being flown to New York by Cosmopolitan magazine to be a fitness model? No. Have I ever gone viral with anything? No. Have I ever had 40,000 likes on a single picture? No. Do I get lots of free clothes? Yes, I do. Do I get lots of free clothes from Adidas, Nike, Under Armour, Puma, like all the heavyweight sports brands? No, I don't. But it doesn't mean that I'm less valuable than someone who does. You know, in terms of what my Instagram offers, it's just different. I don't feel bad about my account. I feel very grateful and positive about my account. It doesn't have to be the same. I think I'm doing a really bad job. I think it was much better yesterday when we were doing this on Instagram Live. And this is already 40 minutes. I apologise. It's, you know. The other things that were talked about is that, this is, again, not just the post yesterday, but I've heard two other YouTube videos talk about the same thing, and it's, again, eye-opening to me because I have never, ever experienced this. But apparently there's a pressure to lie about what you're eating or how many calories you're eating to make it look like you are eating perfectly. I don't really know what to say about this because I've never experienced that. Certainly on my side, I've never concealed bad, like, junk food or tried to pretend an amount of calories I was eating. And I don't think I've ever been under eating. I think as soon as I realised I was under eating, I was encouraged by everyone else to eat more. So I've really found this eye-opening that there's this secret pressure to conceal what you eat. But I have to at least put it out there to some of you watching that I don't think it's like that for everyone, and I don't think that is, again, a pressure that the BBG community puts on you to conceal what you're eating. I think that maybe comes from a pressure you put on yourself to be perfect, and if that is the case, then I'm glad that the girls brought up these issues because at least that's going to open people's eyes like me who didn't know that was going on and who isn't personally affected. But if there are some of you who are going through the same thing, then at least you know you're not alone and you have people you can talk to about it and see that it was not the right way to do things, and you should feel more than okay discussing all the great things that you eat, all the cake, all the Prosecco, all the everything. I think where else to go from here? I do think that seeing the response to some of these videos and the post yesterday shows that there definitely were a lot of things that needed to be talked about in the open. As you know, that everyone shouldn't feel too caught up in the I want all the free stuff and I want to go viral and I want to be reposted, and we should all remember we're here to find like-minded women to talk to and to support each other. I know I still use my Instagram to this day, not as a brand or a business, even though I do earn money. I'll get to that in a minute. Even though I do earn money from my Instagram, I still use my Instagram every day exactly the same way as I did from day one, which is as my online diary. So every day you will see me in the workout outfit I wore that day. You will hear what I did that day, and you'll hear how I felt about it. Now, is that the most valuable content in the world? No, but I'm not there for you to give you valuable content. I do want there to be value, and I want there to be a really good reason that you support me. I don't want you to just be there for nothing and me be totally selfish. But my account is there for me. It's there for me to use to motivate myself, keep myself accountable. And like I said, the day BBG doesn't work for me, or I'm sick to death of it, is the day that I will see what else I'm going to do, and hopefully find even more friends who are, you know, doing other things who can point me in the right direction. I think it's worth remembering in terms of how aggressively now people do campaign for visibility on Instagram, and by that I mean, you know, you'll see lots of body positivity posts, and like I've said, I think they are great, but I don't think every account needs to be a body positivity account. I think they're there because there are people that need to see that, and they take a great deal of worth away from them. But there is also the fact that those at the moment is such a huge trend that they're what creates a lot of visibility on Instagram. They get like a lot of likes, a lot of engagement, they get reposted a lot. So it's a really good vehicle for building momentum on your following and thing. But it's like karma, you know, you're putting out a really good message. It should absolutely be rewarded by having a positive impact for that person too. So it's not a case of begrudging it, but it can seem aggressive when you see people who are, you know, desperately want to get a photo reposted or to go viral or whatever that is. And it can seem, you know, I have experienced a competitive side to BBG, but, and this is the most important thing, you can't say it's the BBG community that's competitive. This competitiveness is in every single area of my life. As a mother, there is no more competitive place than going out with a group of other mothers, you know, like baby group or whatever. It's all, what's yours doing? How many teeth has yours got? Is yours walked yet? Oh, mine's been doing this since whenever. And then as they get older, it's like, who has the best birthday party? And so had this at their birthday party, which means we need to have this. And competitiveness is everywhere. It's the nature of social media. It's the nature of the world we live in, where expectations are so high all the time. It's everywhere, and I wouldn't want anyone to think, I don't want to be part of the BBG community because it is a super aggressively competitive place to be. It's all about competition for likes and followings. That's just Instagram. That is the nature of Instagram. If you followed loads of fashion accounts on Instagram and you were really into fashion yourself, it would still be about which of the big fashion accounts are reposting whose pictures and whose account is growing bigger than others. That's why so many bloggers get involved with buying likes and followers and things to, you know, it is the nature of the beast. And it'd be exactly the same on the parenting accounts. They want, you know, it's the way that retail works on Instagram by, you know, them putting their products in the hands of social media influencers to be seen and made popular. Everyone is competitively campaigning for more visibility on Instagram. That is not a flaw. I think it was coined as a foundational flaw of the BBG community. That is not the BBG community's fault. That is the nature of Instagram. And if that is not something you want anywhere near you, which I totally get, there are so many other fitness communities that aren't on Instagram where it's not about likes and followings. You know, I've gone on. I'm not even sure if I've made my point clear. I much preferred yesterday's conversation when you were all joining in, and it was a much more fun one. This one doesn't now feel that fun. Have I said anything that's on my little cheat sheets? I also know that there was talk about, you know, as when you get a large following as a BBG account, you get an outpouring of support, but you also get an outpouring of people wanting advice, people emailing you, messaging you. You feel like, as I've certainly felt at some points, little bits of pressure that because I have a big BBG account in my area, that I should be the one that organises the BBG Wales meetup. Have you seen my BBG Wales meetups? They are tiny. I love every girl that comes individually. Like, they're just the best bunch of girls. But they will tell you very honestly that I am quite possibly the shittest person at organising a BBG meetup, because I learned very quickly through an Instagram following to stop offering more than I could give. So I remember one time I was crying on Snapchat because I felt like I was letting everyone down because I couldn't respond to everyone's messages and emails, because essentially my job is to look after my children. That's first and foremost number one. And so I made a blog, and my blog was not a self-promotional blog. It was a blog answering the majority of everyone's questions, because most of them are the same, so that I had a place of reference. I could say it's all on there, just go and read it, and then the answer is in there. But you'll see I haven't updated my blog in 10 months because I don't have time right now to update my blog. And I haven't organised a BBG meetup since Christmas, because I had my boobs done, I had other things going on, and while things are hectic for me at home, that falls by the wayside. I don't personally feel under any pressure now to give any of you more than I can physically give, because I'm not paid for it, which brings me on to, I don't need any of you guys or Kayla or her community team to make this worth my while. I don't need them to thank me. I don't need them to pay me to be an ambassador for their brand or to be an affiliate or anything like that. I don't need to. This is why I do ads, and I unashamedly will do ads on my social media account, because while I put in a significant level of work, whether that's making YouTube videos to talk to you guys about things, trying to give thoughtful content to, other mums out there, or answering questions. I set aside a time every day to go on and try and answer as many questions as I can, or respond to messages, to build relationships. As much as I love it, and I do genuinely from the bottom of my heart love it, it's a significant amount of work. Just like setting up my blog was a huge amount of work. So I made it worth my own while. I don't ask anything of it from you, don't ask any of it from BBG and them, because I'm a free agent, I'm my own person, and those ads allow me to be fully compensated for my time without asking anything back from you guys. I don't know if you can hear my baby, but she's starting to wail because she's woken up from a nap, which means I'm out. I have no more time left to give for this because Maddie's awake. I really hope this didn't sound like a rant. I really hope it didn't sound argumentative. I just want to try and tell you everyone, there's value in all your accounts, big and small, qualified, unqualified, professional photographs, home selfies. There is someone out there on Instagram who is loving what you're doing and depending on you either as their friend or their mentor or their workout buddy or just the person that they see that's most like them. And yes, there is a shed load of competitiveness. There is this whole transformation, competition, whatever. It's up to you if you get involved in that. It exists everywhere in life. This is no different. Get involved in all of that nonsense if that's what you want. If you want a career in social media, good for you. There's a wealth of opportunity on there. As long as you're not trying to pretend that you don't, I've got no problem with you. If you want to reach for the stars, just like anyone going on X Factor or anyone who decides they want to be an actress or, do something like that, go on Big Brother, blah, blah, blah. I go for it. I'm more than happy for you. As long as you're calling a spade and not trying to, pretend that that's not what you're doing. Who cares? It's not hurting me. It's not... I think anyone who wants to take an opportunity they've got should take it and run with it. Whether or not... And the fact that a lot of these accounts that are trying to make a name for themselves as bloggers or fitness influencers or Instagram trainers or A lot of these women are super inspirational and deserve their platform. A lot of these women still support me just doing my stuff at home, not being that inspirational. You know, as long as they're still being a nice person, I haven't got a problem with what any of you want to do. Go network your little bottoms off if you want to be a social media star. I've got no problem with it. If you want to be just keep your circle small and just have a few BBG people that you're all doing the same thing, great. Like there is a place for everyone. You know, it hasn't really changed that much. When I first started BBG, I would look at those transformation features, and if you scroll the comments of the early ones, I will tell you what you will see. It was filled with people saying, hey girls, look at my page for great recipes, clean eating, or I've been doing BBG, I've already done the 12 weeks, come and check out my progress, I give loads of hints and tips. People have been campaigning since the dawn of time for visibility on Instagram. Nothing has changed that much. It's just maybe the ferocity of it, maybe the broad, it's got bigger. But it hasn't really changed. As far as I'm concerned, it's always been there. And just like I ignore those comments when I see them in the feeds of people saying, check out my profile, I don't check your profile out. People do, that's great. Go for it. I don't. I ignore it and I move on. There are things that get me down and I get myself out of it because we all realise it's not life or death. It's Instagram. It's not real life. It doesn't really mean anything. So yeah, it can hurt your feelings for a minute, but don't base your self-worth on it, and don't let anyone tell you or make you feel that any way you are doing social media is wrong. There is no wrong way to do it. You do it for you. As long as you're doing it for you, you don't owe anyone anything. You don't have to be the most amazing member of the BBG, of a community, the biggest cheerleader. It's lovely if you want to be, but your social media is your account. So you use it for you, and that's the end of it, really. No one can tell you what way to do it. I don't know where this is going now, and my baby's freaking me out because she's crying, and I know I gotta go, and I feel like I'm having word vomit. Please, no one take offence. And Abby, if you are watching, who was one of the girls' posts that I read, I actually thought you were very eloquent, and I think you've helped a lot of girls by addressing some of the issues. I didn't agree with them all, as you've probably seen from this video, but overwhelmingly my feeling that I took away from what you wrote was that the negative bits that I didn't agree with were far outweighed by how many girls you made feel better. So for that, I think it was wonderful. And I'm so glad that they have an outlet and a place to have that conversation, if it's going to help them remember what's true and what's not on social media. Obviously, I expect a little bit of debate in the comments. I don't shy away from it. I just putting my opinions out there. I am a very loud person, so I hope it didn't come across as like shouty and ranty. So yeah, as long as you're not mean to me, I don't mind what you leave in the comments. I'm open to all discussions, but just keep it in a nice place. And I will always try and give a response if I can. Bye everyone! Bye!